Soul and Uptown Girl. The Dave Monk programme, BBC Essex. Now, it's easier to learn. I think we all know, don't we, that it's easier to learn if you're having fun. Especially if it's a language. Now, French. Did you learn French at school? Did you learn French? Was it fun? Because I have to say, to be absolutely honest, ours wasn't great fun learning French at school, which is probably why I can't speak it particularly well. Well, Jenny Berman runs The Magical Frog, which is rather a brave title, I think, but it's a club where children meet to connect with French culture, and they're taught to communicate in French in a sort of fun and creative way. There are classes in Chigwell, and Jenny joins me now, not from Chigwell, I understand. Morning, Jenny.
Good morning.
Where are you?
I'm in the south of France at the moment.
You swine. Whereabouts?
It's called Saint-Paul, which is near Nice in the south.
Oh, how delightful! How delightful! Because did you grew up in France?
Yes, in exactly this place, actually.
How lovely! So you how many languages do you speak now?
5.
You speak 5 languages. Right. How, I said my French lessons, all right, they were okay for their era, and things have moved on a lot since then, but how is French taught in schools now?
Well, apparently very different to the way we teach it as a Magical Frog. So, lots of grammar and structure, sitting down, not much movement and interaction. And I think the main problem is that when people actually go to France, they can't use what they've learnt. We're trying to kind of break away from that.
So how is your way different? How do you do it?
Well, the idea is to teach French in a very fun, interactive and communicative way, because that is how children learn. Little children learn when they're emotionally engaged. So the point is to not sit them down and, teach them lots of grammar. It's to, through movement, music, singing, and lots of games, because that is, it's not only fun, but it's also more effective.
It is amazing, actually, when you think about it, that the teaching of languages has gone the way it has, because something as absolutely basic and fun as communication to be made so boring is quite a feat, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is a shame, yes.
It's amazing. So give me an example. You say you have a 7-year-old, 8-year-old child who's never learnt French before. Where do you start?
Where do you start? Well, first of all, our classes are 90% or even 99% in French. So I use the methods that were used with me when I was actually learning other language, which is total immersion. I learned French and other languages while I was in the country. So I'm trying to use that same technique at the Magical Frog. And so it's very important to bring out that natural desire for the child to want to communicate. So if the child wants to understand, wants to be understood, if you can bring that out, that is the most important thing. And also if you can bring out that enthusiasm for learning another language, that is also very important, and that is what we do.
But if they have no building bricks, they can't build the castle, can they?
Well, they can. I mean, you start very, very slowly. You start with flashcards, you start with, movements and pictures, and, it's very visual and very, use a lot of movement and things like that. And, the child is always participating. They're not just, sitting there and looking at a board, staring at a board.
Well, try it with us all now, okay? Is it possible over the radio? Can we all have a go?
I don't have
This is your little task pour le jour.
Well, no, I mean... that's quite a challenge.
Because it is very visual, isn't it?
Yes,
it is, as you say, it's action, it's visual.
Absolutely.
Children... It worries me that children are not learning languages now. It worries me that we are incredibly lazy at languages now, because you've got to communicate with other places in the world. Conversely, of course, everybody speaks English, so why bother?
Yes. Well, this is the one thing I noticed, professionally as a teacher of foreign languages, and also just in my, during my travels outside work, I noticed that everybody who I met who was bilingual, multilingual, was not from an English-speaking country, and this is something that was, very obvious to me. I thought, my goodness, I have to do something about this. At least I think as English people need to learn at least the language of their neighbours.
And is it going to spread? Do you think, or do you think the schools will just say, "Oh, we can't be bothered anymore"?
Well, I think there have been some changes recently. Obviously, not as big as the changes that have taken place with the English language in other countries, but I think very, very slowly there has been some improvement, and I'm hoping to see more improvements in that department in future.
But children also should be taught languages with food and with, as you say, play. But it's living life that teaches languages, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are trying to do our best to kind of, create a mini France. For those 2 hours that the children come to the Magical Frog, they come in and they will feel as though they are on a French kind of oasis. But also, a lot of parents who have phoned about their children are ones who regularly go to France. So hopefully these children will be able to use French once they cross the border, and they'll be able to, translate for their parents.
What about the parents? Because why can't these methods be used with adults as well?
In fact, well, they are used in a different way. I mean, adults also learn through emotional engagement, and that tends to be through humour, but obviously a different sort of, it's a different form of play, but a more sort of adult version.
Talking of humour, unless you have lived in a country for many, 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 many years, do you ever get the jokes?
Well, the first sign that somebody is becoming fluent in a language is actually when they start understanding humour and making jokes. So that is a very good indication that somebody has a good, is getting there.
What's it given you, Jenny, the fact that you can speak 5 languages? What's it given you in your life?
A peace of mind, I think, mostly. I mean, just the practical value is immense. Whenever I go travelling, it just makes my life much easier. And also, in the very competitive job market today, I think it's very important to learn another language.
Jenny, I'll let you get on with being wonderful in France. Thank you very much indeed. Jenny Berman there from the Magical Frog, which operates in Chigwell. We just thought, interesting way. Kids are home from school at the moment. Do they learn French in any way at school? I'd love to know if your children or your grandchildren, between 4 and 10, that sort of age group, do they learn French? How do they learn French, and how are they getting on? I'd like to know on that one, just to see what's going on out there. But also, Jenny was saying then, when I asked her, what's it given her, it was sort of peace of mind. It enables her to get out of difficult situations and know where she's going and what she's doing. Can you think of any difficulties that you have got yourself into through having no knowledge of a language? Because when I was looking at this morning, I thought the first thing that came into my mind is a mate and I were travelling around Italy. I think I mentioned that yesterday. We were travelling around Italy when we were young and hadn't got a word, just no idea what we were talking about. Got on the wrong train, ended up going in entirely the wrong direction, and instead of ending up on the coast where we wanted to be, ended up right slap bang in the middle of Italy where the train stopped, and we had to pile out. No idea what to do.
BBC Essex.
The Guide.